The musical world of Joni Mitchell is composed of a rich tapestry of sounds.
Why did you bring me to a place so wild and pretty?
This poet seems almost out of place in an industry where the ultimate goal is to have a hit record.
I follow my own inner voice. I wouldn't know how to make a hit if I tried, you know. I've never pandered to any particular audience.
The audience hasn't always stayed with Mitchell. She lost more than a few fans when she turned to jazz a few years ago.
Well, I can understand why it is that some people don't enjoy the more complex work, prefer the simple work. Still, at the same time, you long for them to be more adventuresome.
The simple work Mitchell composed and sang in the 1960s made this Canadian world famous. But since then, she's always had the reputation of being somewhat of a recluse.
I don't talk much to anyone.
I think I find too much public attention a little embarrassing. You know, I come from small towns in Saskatchewan where good taste, good manners was not to stick your head up above the crowd. I like to be able to walk around. I like it when people say hello and wave, you know, or, you know, but the pedestal is too drafty for me.
For those who would put her up there, she has a simple message. Don't confuse the artist with her art. Mitchell claims she never had any intention of becoming a star, but as a little girl named Roberta Anderson, she used to listen to the hit parade on the radio underneath her covers in bed. It helped her cope with a crippling disease, polio.
It's a withering disease. It twists you around. I've done yoga for years, which is excellent for keeping it from turning into a pretzel.
Perhaps it was the disease which gave her an empathy with people that's often reflected in her music. Sandy Kenyon, CNN, Hollywood. Before Whitney Houston can dance, somebody has to find a good song.
And so it took us 2 years to go around the country, to get the best writers to give us the best material.
I decided long ago never to walk in anyone's shadow.
Some artists find their best material in their own heads.
You know, the idea doesn't come from I think I'll write a song now. It's got to come from a sensation, and the sensation is translated through a musician as a tone, as a chord pattern, as a rhythm, and ultimately you slap a lyric on that baby based on the expression that you're feeling.
Writing isn't always a solitary process, and it wasn't for Ted Nugent after he got a call from superstar John Bon Jovi.
John called me, he says, I've got a couple ideas. And what he had is he had a title. That's the Story of Love. And he had a theme based on it. He wanted to cling to it.
A member of his band came up with the bass part next.
I heard the title and I heard the bass line, and then I went, yeah, but how about this?
Then the two men threw words at each other.
We slammed those lyrics around, and it turned into a statement.
Some of the best of popular music comes from those who don't know a sharp from a flat.
I'm a composer who cannot write, but I can hear it and I can imagine it.
There is chaos to the order. Random things you can't prevent.
Joni Mitchell assembles a song like a jigsaw puzzle, one piece at a time. But recently, the sum of the parts didn't have to be added up.
It came out like this. Number one, honey, tell me when your working day is done. Were you reaching for the high round, reaching to be number one? Just like that, just came out in the air.
Mitchell's friend James Taylor knows to prepare for such times by keeping a pad and paper handy.
Often, if I travel to out-of-the-way places or, exotic lands, there'll be a song waiting there.
Sail on to another land beneath another sky.
It's a way of making a living, which often doubles as therapy.
I have a tendency to kind of keep things to myself. If something's bugging me, sometimes I just kind of swallow it, and kind of builds up, and rather than freaking out, I write a song.
That ain't love. I believe you got the wrong emotion.
There are so many emotions, but they all begin in the songwriter's brain, get filtered through the heart, and by means of a craft to our ears, so that we may enjoy life a little more or understand it a little better. Sandy Kenyon, CNN, Hollywood.
At the very moment bombs began falling on Baghdad last month, much of the rock and roll community was gathering in New York for its annual Hall of Fame induction dinner.
We're going to be interrupted momentarily, I think, for the live broadcast of the president's speech.
Some long-standing assumptions were immediately confronted. Is, for example, rock and roll an inherently anti-war medium? 12 days later at the American Music Awards, musicians of all stripes were waving the Stars and Stripes.
Oh, say, can you sing by the dawn?
The reason why I came out dressed like I did tonight on stage is for America, for real.
At the height of America's last prolonged overseas military engagement, rock and rollers provided the soundtrack for the anti-war movement. The war in the Persian Gulf has some Vietnam-era musicians searching for new footholds in shifting sands.
It's a mysterious war. I wish our boys great spirit. I wish it would end.
It's a Hawks versus Doves deja vu, and a new generation of pop and rock figures is choosing up sides. Before hostilities broke out in the Middle East, 15-year-old Sean Lennon updated his father's peace anthem. One who was invited to sing along was Sting, who declined.
We all want peace, but what does it mean? This issue is incredibly complex. And I don't think it needs sloganeering. It needs debate.
One rock act firmly in support of the war is Nelson, Matthew and Gunnar, sons of the late Rick Nelson.
Well, I think Americans in general have a big problem with being non-committal. You got to believe in something. You can't walk that middle ground. At one point or another, you've either got to run away, or you've got to stand and fight for what you believe in.
Mark Shearer, CNN, New York.
Really, the way we've always conducted ourselves and our business and our lives has we've really.
With the drumbeat of an Indian radio station playing in the background, Leonard Peltier sits and reads his mail. Mail sent to him here at his home in Leavenworth, Kansas.
I am not guilty,
Says Peltier of charges he murdered 2 FBI agents here on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation in the Black Hills of South Dakota in 1975.
I was in the area. I've never denied being in the area, but I did not kill those agents.
It all took place not long after the standoff between American Indians and heavily armed FBI units at Wounded Knee. At the time, the Indians and the FBI were at what amounted to war. Peltier and 2 others were arrested for the murder. Peltier fled to Canada rather than face trial. He was captured, brought back, and convicted. The others were acquitted.
Why did you run?
Well, our past experiences with the judiciary system has not been great, as we all know. Not good at all.
Theirs was okay.
Pardon?
Theirs was okay. They got off.
Yes, they were very fortunate that they had good lawyers. If I was there, I would have been acquitted too.
He wasn't. But since the trial, government documents have cast doubt on ballistic evidence that convicted him. A woman who claimed to have seen him kill the agents recanted, and a prosecutor since admitted the government really doesn't know who killed the agents. Leonard Peltier is now serving 2 consecutive life terms for murder. For the past 6 years, he has been housed here at the federal penitentiary in Leavenworth, Kansas, where by all accounts he has been what they call a model prisoner. That he has become something of a jail cell celebrity helps.
Well, here's some from Sweden, card from Sweden.
Peltier has received support from all around the world, some of it from celebrities who have taken up his cause. The likes of Joni Mitchell and Willie Nelson have put on benefit concerts. Robert Redford, Chris Christopherson, and Bonnie Raitt are among his backers. Even his lawyer is a celebrity. But the government says Leonard Peltier is a common criminal.
It's the easiest thing for the government to say. They're common criminals, and that's the end of it. But he will remember that even in the trial of Christ, he was called a common criminal as well.
The author of this book claims to have interviewed a masked man who says he, not Peltier, killed the FBI agents. Director Oliver Stone filmed that interview and wants to make a movie about Peltier.
You don't mind my photographing this book?
Soviet President Gorbachev knows of the Peltier case and autographed a book for him.
And give my best regards to him.
President Bush is now said to be considering a pardon or commutation for Peltier at the behest of Senator Daniel Inouye, chairman of the Senate Indian Affairs Committee.
If you had it to do over, would you run again?
No, of course, I didn't know what the outcome would have been. But I certainly didn't run because I was afraid of, I was guilty of anything. I wasn't guilty of anything, and I've said it before, and I'll continue to say it.
The hearing on a new trial is set for Wednesday in Bismarck, North Dakota. For now, Leonard Peltier walks the hall of his prison home and waits. I'm Jeff Locke, CNN, Leavenworth, Kansas.
When Elizabeth Taylor throws a party, she doesn't Mickey Mouse around. Well, maybe just this once.
Well, my 40th birthday was, it was pretty fabulous. We had a 3-day bash in Budapest.
But Budapest was passed over this time for banners, balloons, and a blimp with birthday greetings. And there were plenty of well-wishers on the ground, including Richard Gere and Cindy Crawford, Stevie Wonder, Tom Selleck, and Esther Williams. Even the impressive were impressed.
This is a trip, ain't it? Fantastic. This is not only a whoop-de-doo, this is a whoop-whoop-de-doo.
This is one of the most fun nights that we've probably ever had in Hollywood.
Oh, I just think it's so incredible she made it. She's made everything else, so why not make it to 60?
60 years ago, the park was not yet a pipe dream. Mickey Mouse was only 3. All these years later, Fantasyland provided a birthday backdrop unlike any movie set Taylor has seen in her 5 decades in show business. This pricey party for several hundred close friends included a brass band, birthday cake, fireworks, and serenade.
I made it through the rain. I kept my point of view. I made it through the rain and found myself.
For wedding gifts, Taylor was registered at Tiffany's. Barry Manilow bought her a toaster. But what for the birthday bash? One guest gave Liz 60 lottery tickets for good luck.
What'd you get for her? You try to get invited. That's what you get.
You want to know what we got her?
What's in the bag?
It's a present.
What is it?
I can't tell.
60 more.
What touches her heart? You give her that. Taylor says she's a kid at heart, and that's why she chose this amusement to celebrate. When asked how others her age should party, she did not plug the park, her famous friends, or even Pinocchio's Pasta Villa, instead opting for simpler pleasures.
Oh, just enjoy it. Grab a hold of it and enjoy it.
Sounds good to me.
Sherry Sylvester, CNN, Anaheim, California.